Finally. All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to our Thursday morning virtual coffee mastermind. And this morning, I'm so excited to bring Emma and Ryan back. They were here a few weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, something like that. And we're talking to us about the perfect sales call. And we didn't get all the way through it because everybody was so engaged and asked a ton of questions. So they promised to come back again and finish it off. And that's what they're here to do. So Emma and Ryan, I don't know if I think I can highlight both of you, but I'm going to try. When you guys start speaking, I might,
You
let's
can
try.
press the 3 buttons and then pin us to the top there.
So
There
I
you go.
got Emma, and let me see. Ryan, start talking.
I'm talking. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think,
I'm just not being brought to the top.
okay, so
I think you got it. I don't know. Me and Emma are top 2 on my screen. There we go. I don't know where Emma went now though.
all right, yay!
There we go.
Figured it out.
Got it. We got it.
All right, you guys. So like I'm everybody knows who you are. Well, there's some new people, but we know and love you from the last time you were here. So just kind of pick it up from wherever you feel comfortable. Maybe give us a quick rundown of the first part and then get into what we got to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so good morning to everybody, first and foremost. For those of you guys that were here with us last time, it's good to see you again. And for those of you guys that are seeing our faces for the first time, it's nice to see you for the first time. So last time we were here, we had taught you guys something called the perfect call formula, and we only got about halfway through the perfect call formula, halfway through that pyramid. And so we talked a little bit about setting intentions, understanding what the objective was of the call, how to get past the intro, and we talked a little bit about some question asking frameworks to understand motivation, ability, and willingness. And today, what we are going to teach you guys is something very specific. We wanted to make sure that when we came back today, we could really give you guys something tactical. So we are going to give you our exact framework to get leads excited to actually show up for your appointments. So we call it our platinum value proposition framework. And essentially what this is, it's a plug and play framework. We'll give it to you guys today. You can print it off and put it beside your computer when you're on a phone call and you're looking to book an appointment with somebody. And you can literally just fill in the blanks and it'll help you book more qualified appointments and ensure that those people are actually excited to show up for the appointment. So that's what we're going to accomplish with you guys today.
Yeah, and the one thing that I just wanted to go over, just so you guys remember, for those of you who weren't here last time, is when you're doing your question asking in the front end of the call, you're doing your discovery, it is really important to understand what is the actual motivation. So what's the desire and the wants and the needs, the pains, fears, and the worries that the prospect has, because you need this information to be able to plug it in to the PVP, the Platinum Value Proposition formula, to make them meeting you for a virtual appointment super attractive to them. And just as a recap, if you're just asking how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what location do you want, the BBL, theory, then you're not going to have good enough information to make an appointment valuable to them. And that's the big thing you want to do here, is make the appointment valuable to them. And we're going to give you the exact framework. But I just wanted to remind you, you need to know their motivation. You need to know their ability, and you need to know their willingness to work with you, because that is the information that you have to plug into this framework that will have them wanting to show up to appointments, because you're making the appointments about them and about their pains, worries, fears, needs, wants, and desires.
All right, should we hop into it?
Let's hop in.
All right, let's do it. Let me share my screen quickly. Are we good? Yeah. All right, guys. So the Platinum Value Proposition framework is the exact framework that you need to use to get leads excited to actually show up for their appointment with you. So right now, I'm sure you guys are feeling it. We felt it too. It is harder than ever to get leads on the phone.
Yep.
The number of spam calls is up. The, hesitancy and the reluctance to pick up a phone call from an unknown number is greater than ever. And so right now, we're seeing the number of people that are ghosting after the first call increasing. Okay. The number of people that are like not showing up for the appointments increasing right now. Okay. And then the third thing is, and you guys know this even better than we do, the number of people that are out there interviewing other agents to make the right choice has also increased. And so the thing that's important for us all to know is that you need a very strong hook on the first phone call that you have with them for them to consider an appointment. Because if you don't have that on the very first call, the amount of work that we have to do to continue to chase them down and get them back on the call is greater than it has ever been. And so there's three mistakes that you guys might be making on the phone. And the reason why we say you might be making them is because like we have made them 1,000 times in our career, and we'll tell you a little bit about, who we are and how we got here in front of you today in a second. But one of the mistakes is really not tracking the most important metrics. So there's lots of metrics that you can track when you're making phone calls, right? How many calls are you making? How many contacts are you going to have? How many conversations are you going to have? But the most important thing is, how many appointments have you actually asked for today?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, everybody gets obsessed with how good the conversation is, how much information they delivered, how much value they delivered on the phone. But you need to remember the intentions of making a discovery call. A discovery call is to get someone face to face with you in an appointment, because 71 to 72% of people, depending on the NAR stats you read, will work with the first realtor they actually meet. And that's why the intention of the phone call is to get them into an appointment. But so many of us, we think we're great on the phone. We're delivering a lot of information. We deliver a lot of value, often too much, but we never ask for the actual appointment because we think if we just deliver a ton of value, they're now going to work with us. They haven't met you. So the chances aren't there yet. You want to work. I always work on percentages. It's a formula. And I want the best chance of people working with me. So we have to ask for the appointments.
Yeah. So if there's one thing that I would suggest that you track going forward, on a day-to-day basis, is how many people did I communicate with and how many of those people did I actually ask to show up to an appointment? Okay. So we want to start there. And then what we're going to show you today with the PVP framework is exactly how to ask for that appointment in a delicate way that gets them to want to show up for that. So we're going to show you that in a second. Okay. The second mistake that agents often make is not knowing the milestones of a call. And so oftentimes, like Ryan said, they talk for too long because they don't understand, when should I transition from the intro into the body of the call? And when have I actually collected enough information or enough information in the body of the call to gracefully ask for the appointment and close into the appointment? And oftentimes we get stuck here and we give away too much information. And that is what we call the never-ending call fallacy. And I'm not sure if you guys have been there, but we've been there 1,000 times where, you're on a call for 30 minutes and the lead's like, thank you so much for all of this amazing information. This was so helpful. And you're like, I literally gave them everything that I would otherwise give them in an appointment. Why would they even show up for another appointment with me? I've shown all my cards on the very first call.
Yeah. And I think the big mistake people make here is they feel like I have to add value, add value, add value to develop the relationship. But the problem is the reason you feel that way is because you're actually not a good salesperson and you're not good at showing how you're going to deliver value in the appointment itself, which is what the PVP framework does. And when I came up with this never-ending call fallacy, was I used to run a team of 250 agents that only sold online leads. All we did was online leads. And we had a bullpen, and I'd walk through the bullpen and I'd hear people on the phone and I'd say, dude, you were on the phone for like 30 minutes. How do you think that call went? And they'd be like, oh, amazing. I built so much rapport. I told them all about the buying process, all about the first time buyer benefits that are out there for them. I think like they really liked me. They're likely going to work with me. And I'm like, well, did you book an appointment? And they're like, no. They're like, oh, shoot. And I'm like, why would they ever come on an appointment at this point? You've already given them all of the goods. So the perfect call is not 30 minutes. It's not 45 minutes. The perfect call for Emma and I, 5 to 7 minutes. Find out what we taught you the last time we were here, where you find out motivation, ability, willingness, and then you show them how you're going to provide value to them on those points in an appointment, and get them off the phone so you can make more calls, talk to more people, book more appointments, get more clients.
Absolutely. So what should you guys be able to implement right away today? No matter what the lead source is, regardless of where you're coming from today, some of you might be working more repeat and referral. Some of you guys might be working online leads. Some are open houses. Some are door knocking. Maybe it's direct mail. It doesn't really matter where the lead is coming from. The PVP framework is essentially the same in terms of asking for the appointment to any lead source, right? So no matter what, they should actually be asking you for the appointment. They're going to want to show up for these appointments. And the last thing is, we've seen a lot of agents that have asked for the appointment and then they don't know how to actually deliver the value on the appointment. Like, what is actually important for me to go through with this person when I meet them for the first time for a 30 or 45-minute strategy session, buyer consultation, listing presentation, whatever it happens to be. And so when you use this PVP framework, you'll feel very confident making sure that you're delivering value to the prospect that is showing up to the appointment so that they want to work with you and they're not shopping for alternative options of other agents after this appointment.
Yeah, so many agents book appointments, and the whole point of the appointment is so that they can sell them real estate. People sense that. If you get someone into an appointment and all you're trying to do is sell them real estate, they don't want to work with you. They smell that commission breath. The whole point of the appointment is to provide value to them and act as a consultant that show them you can help them overcome the roadblocks that are getting in the way of buying real estate, while creating emotions around the reason that they might want to buy real estate and make the right decision for them at the right time.
Yeah. So I know Debbie said some of you know us, some of you don't know us, but why should you even listen to us anyways? So who we are, how we even got here in front of you in the first place. We definitely weren't born sales coaches. We knew nothing about marketing. We weren't great real estate agents when we started, that's for sure. I was actually a DJ before I was in real estate, but DJing doesn't tend to pay the bills very much, especially if you're not a large DJ. And so prior, or I guess in tandem while I was DJing, I did outbound credit card sales over the phone, which is, I think, a bit of a harder sell than real estate. Nobody likes to be sold credit over the phone during dinner. So I had a little bit of a thick skin to be able to make calls. And so what I decided to do was I got my real estate license. I end up joining a brokerage that provided us online leads, and I would make 100 to 120 calls to online leads during the day. And this is how I kind of developed. And with Ryan, we kind of came together to figure out what is the best way for us to be able to do this.
Yeah, and myself, I was managing a bar to pay the bills. Very similar story. I was working 90 plus hours per week. I was making 100 calls per day, banging the phones all day, just trying to find clients that were willing to work with me, door knocking, working open houses, everything I could do, and then running a bar at night just to pay the bills. And I couldn't do it. I knew there had to be a better way.
Yeah, so we both had the same dream, and that was basically like, how do we earn more money and get our time back? Because making 100 to 120 calls a day is like, it's pretty taxing. And so what we did was we actually built a system that turned kind of, when we say the average 8-hour grind, honestly, we were probably working closer to like 10 to 12 at that time.
100%.
But what we did was we boiled it down to like, what are the most important things for us to do? And that was basically 2 hours of serious productivity. So we shrunk that down. And when we figured this formula out, this is kind of what happened from like doing the 100 calls to, where we got and how we're in front of you now. I became the top agent at my brokerage at 27. I did over 7 figures as a solo agent. I've done over 2 million as a team leader. And then like now we're just teaching you guys this stuff. So I just want you to know we're not coming from a spot of like theory. We didn't just learn this on YouTube. This is something that we've been doing for 10 years, and we're just sharing like what has worked for us with you.
Yeah. And myself, you know, in my first year, I grinded so hard just to do 15 transactions, and I figured out how to work less and grow to over 50 transactions a year, over $1 million in commissions. And I became the senior vice president of sales and an equity partner at a 250 person broke. Well, we grew it. It was 5 people. We grew it to 250 people and over $1 billion of sales, and exited the company to a VC for multiple 8 figures.
Yeah, but all of it, just so you guys know, started with converting online leads. That was it. First sales were online leads for both of us, and both of our businesses were built completely, the foundation at least was completely built off of online leads. And then we implemented and improved our repeat and referral and our nurture with those clients. But the entire base foundation of us building our clientele all came from a cold audience of online leads. Okay. Now, with that being said, we're definitely not perfect. We've made a lot of mistakes, probably more so than many of you. And one of those mistakes, right, was, again, like we said, that never-ending call fallacy, not showing up to an appointment, understanding how we were going to deliver the value, spending way too much time generating the leads and not getting enough people on the discovery call. When we got people on the discovery call, giving away way too much information on the discovery call and not knowing how to book an appointment. But what I want you guys to know is the holy grail, the North Star of everything that we do from a lead generation perspective is, how do I get somebody into that first appointment so that I can increase the likelihood of that person becoming a client of mine? Okay. And so what we're going to teach you guys today is a very specific part of our perfect call pyramid. And I know we went through some of this with you last time. We went through our introduction. We went through the desire and pain discovery. And today, what we're going to go through with you is our PVP framework. And this is, like I said, exactly how you can ask for the appointment. So we'll show you exactly what that is. And by the way, if you guys want a sheet of this that you can just print out and keep at your computer, just drop us your email in the chat, and then we'll email this to you after. You guys can print it out and then just like write it down when you're on the phone.
100%. So now jumping into the platinum value proposition framework, right? So this is super easy to use. If you have the right information, it's plug and play. You can use it over and over and over again and have actual leads wanting to show up to appointments with you, because you show them how you're going to provide the value that they need that will move them along in the purchasing or selling process, depending if you're speaking to a buyer lead or a seller lead on the phone. And it works no matter where you met the leads, right? Whether they're online leads, whether you've met these leads at an open house, door knocking, event networking, so on and so forth, you're eventually going to have to call these people to try and set an appointment. And this framework will have them not only wanting to book the appointment, but show up to the appointment because they know the value that is in the appointment for them. And so they're going to show up.
All right. Without further ado, let's share it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it looks like. Like we told you guys, it's plug and play. You could be brand new. You could be seasoned. This thing will work for you.
Yeah. And so this is why we structured it this way. So the first piece, and everything here is psychologically built to take the next step. And this is why it's a formula to get them to want to commit. So first we say the next step in the process, right? The reason you do this is it makes it for them in their mind that this is just common sense, that this is what everyone does next. If I'm at all interested in buying a house or at some point buying a house, this is what happens next, right? So this is what everyone does. It's not just unique to me. This person's not trying to make me do something that's never been done before. It's just this is what everyone does, right? So the next step in the process is to do XYZ, which for us, we always call it a strategy session, okay? The reason we call it a strategy session, whether it's a buyer or a seller, is if you call it a buyer consultation or a listing presentation or a seller presentation, at any given time, only 3 to 5% of the marketplace actually considers themselves a buyer or a seller, right? And this is the biggest mistake we make. So if you call it a buyer consultation, they don't think, if they don't consider themselves a buyer, they don't think it's for them. They don't think they need it. However, if they at any point in their life would like to make a move, everyone needs a strategy in place to give them the ability to make that move quicker, easier, more pain-free, less stress, etc. So the next step in the process, everyone does it, is to sit down for a 45-minute strategy session over Zoom so that we can, so that we can give them the feature that they're going to get, so that you can then get the benefit that they want. And then you finish it off with, which has helped others like you get the desired outcome they want, right? What is their dream outcome? What's the desired outcome that they want? And we use, which has helped others like you, because it creates commonality. It shows that you've done it before. It helps you build authority, number one, because it shows you've done it before. Number two, it creates commonality. We have this in our little monkey brain there. We have this innate need to be part of a group, and to have things in common with people. And using this phrase of which has helped others like you creates that commonality and makes them feel like they're just joining a group, which makes them feel safe. And that's what we all want to do, is feel safe. But it also, as I mentioned, helps you build authority. So what does it look like, Emma?
Yeah, so here's a great example for you guys on what this would look like in a, let's say, first-time buyer situation, right? So, hey, Debbie, the next step in the process is a buyer strategy session, right? So that we can discuss all of the costs that you're going to incur as a first-time buyer and all of the benefits that are available to you from a financial perspective, okay? And what that will do, or so that you, right, can stop renting from your landlord. And this has helped other people like you finally build equity in their first home instead of paying down their landlord's mortgage. Okay. So what you can see is most people will just say, why don't we have an appointment on Saturday so I can show you the benefits that are available to you? That's it. Okay. That's only a feature though. People don't buy features. People buy the benefits to them. And so the difference between what many people are doing right now is if they even do the next step thing, which most people are just like, do you want to have an appointment to discuss this? Instead of setting the frame
that we should have an appointment.
Yeah, it's like, this is what we do because we're professionals and we have a process to follow, which people love. Like, you don't go to the bank and they're like, what do you want to do? They're like, this is what we do. You're going to have to do this, this, and this in order to make this happen or open your account, etc. So the next step in the process is we're going to do this so that you can understand these things. But when you understand these features, what are the benefits that you're going to get as a result of it? Okay. If you know all the costs that are available to you, or all of the properties that are 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, freehold properties in a great school district for your family, so that you can get your kids into a top school district and a better friend group, or whatever it happens to be. This has helped other families like you reduce stress of their kids being bullied, or whatever it happens to be. You can fill those in, and these last two pieces are the things that get them to go, this person understands me, and this is truly why I need to show up to this appointment, because my problem down here is going to, I get my desired outcome, and my problem will be solved if I show up to this appointment. Okay. So that is exactly how the PVP works. It works for any lead source. It works for any prospect type, first-time buyer, move-up buyers, downsizers, investors. It doesn't matter. It's plug and play. So if you guys want us to send you that, just drop your email in the chat. We'll send you basically something that you can fill out. You just print them out, leave them on your desk, and then you just fill them out as you go, so you know exactly how you're going to close into the appointment. All right. So that is the PVP framework. So using this framework is where you're going to have prospects wanting that appointment with you because they understand the value. Your show up rate is going to increase because now they know that the appointment's about them, right? You're going to know how to prep for the appointment because you've understood these are the things that they're looking to accomplish in this appointment. So these are all the ways that I can continue to add value as I prepare for it. And most importantly, like I said, This is about them getting what they want by showing up to the appointment. It's not about them feeling like you need to hit your quota and the target that you set for yourself this week of like, I'm going to do 3 appointments, so I'm just going to ask for them. This is all about them. It's not about you. And when you structure it this way, you will increase the number of appointments that you book, and you will increase the number of people that show up to those appointments because you're going to know how to deliver value.
Yeah, and this is like super important that you first hit the first part of the call and understand motivation, ability, and willingness, because without that, none of this works, right? And that's why it's a pyramid, because if you don't use the Trojan horse introduction, you're not going to be able to get into conversation with people to find out the motivation, ability, and willingness. If you don't find out the motivation, ability, and willingness, you don't have the pieces you need to plug into the framework to show them that the appointment is for them and not you, right? Most of us just find out how many beds, how many baths, how many, what location you want, what's your price point, and then they say, let's go out on showings.
Yeah.
What value are you delivering? That's why agents are seen as nothing but a key to a door. And this is why right now our commissions are under attack, right? Especially on the buyer side. They don't think we have the value. They think the buyer should pay us. Well, this is why, is because we haven't done a good job as professionals and as a profession of showing people the value that we can provide them early on in the process.
Absolutely. So if you guys are curious about what we do at Sales Genius, we give agents the exact lead to client playbook. So we actually generate their leads in their target demographic for them. We set up a 2-hour-a-day system to help them manage their database. That's what we basically built over the many years of doing 100+ calls a day. We book highly qualified appointments in their calendar, help them increase the show up rates to those appointments. And lastly, we actually show them how to conduct a virtual strategy session that knocks the socks off for their clients so that they're not shopping around for other agents. So if that sounds at all interesting to any of you, book just a 10-minute discovery call with us, and we can see if and how we can help you. And if we can, awesome. And if we can't, that's okay too.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us again. We're excited to hop into some breakout rooms.
All right, guys. Okay, let me see if let's see. Emma, okay, well, no, you don't have to stop sharing yet. I'm just gonna remove the spotlight so I can open the. All right, you guys. So, Emma or Ryan, whoever wants to, what is the first icebreaker question for our breakout rooms?
Oh, there we go.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah, the first icebreaker question when you get in your breakout rooms is, when you go into prospecting, however you prospect, do you set intentions or goals for that prospecting session?
All right.
And then how do you do so?
Excellent. How do you set your intentions or goals for your prospecting sessions? Here we go. I'm going to open.
Do it.
Yeah. Hopefully the answer is yes. All right. So I'm going to open all the breakout rooms. Anyhow, so anyone have an amazing breakthrough in their breakout room that they want to share with us? Anybody want to raise their hand or unmute themselves and tell me something amazing they learned in their breakout room?
Hey, Debbie, can I go? My name is Troy Holt, and so I met Cody and also Tom in our breakout room, and it was just good just to be able to connect and build relationships. We find out all 3 of us live in Florida, and so we had that commonality. Miguel was there, but he popped in for a minute, so I'm not for sure where he was from, but we were just able to connect and talk about our families and talk about what we do. So it's just good to just connect with people and build the relationships. And I'm a big relationship builder. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, you bet. Thank
Peggy.
you. Sheila, oh, sorry. Somebody was unmuted. Who was that?
That was Peggy, but Sheila's going.
Okay, Sheila, go.
Okay. So our breakout session was really good. I got called out because I don't make my phone calls, but it was good. It was good. I was honest. I don't have to make 100 a day, right? And it's more about adding value and It's not the cold calling, because I think that's what gets everybody freaked out, that like you should be doing 100 calls a day cold calling, and it's like, no, that's not what this is all about. This is doing other things. So like we had talked about doing a video, and you're doing an email, and then you're following up saying like, hey, do you have any questions? Are you getting my email? So it's not necessarily me sounding salesy, which that's what I don't want. So that's why I don't do them. So it was
Gotcha.
good. I feel
So
good.
it sounds to me, Sheila, like you're not concentrating on cold calls, but you're concentrating on following up with past clients and things like that. So it's a different pattern, right, Emma? When you're not making cold calls, when you're following up with past clients and stuff. So really, what I think Emma and Ryan are talking about is the sales process when you're talking to people you don't know, that you don't already have
Exactly.
influence on. Yeah. Emma, you were going to say something. You muted, honey.
I just want to make a very clear distinction about what we do, because I think maybe we didn't clarify this. We don't cold call people. By the way, I just want you guys to know, I hate cold calling people. But I do like calling people that already know who I am. And so what we do is we teach other modalities to get in front of people, so that when I'm calling them, they already have some familiarity with me. I'm not picking up the phone and dialing out of Yellow Pages. I don't think exists anymore, but like, I'm not picking up the phone and calling a number of somebody that's never heard from me, right? And so what we do is we use basically our 2-hour-a-day thing to warm people up via email with videos, etc., so that we're only calling usually somewhere around 20 to 30 people. But the 20 to 30 people that we're calling, we're certain that those people know who we are. So I just want to make a very clear distinction, because I think a lot of people get in their head, it's like, well, I know cold calling works, but like, I don't want to call a bunch of people that don't know me. I'm with you. Like, I hate calling people that don't know me, but I love calling people that do know me, because we have trained, I want to say, like probably close to 5,000 agents in the last 6 months. The number of people that tell me that they pick up the phone on a day-to-day basis is probably less than 1% of those. So the competition for even a warm audience for you is so insignificant. And this is what I was saying to Sheila: start with 5 calls a day. Don't even start with 20 or 30. Just start with 5. And then guess what? Over the course of 1 week, you're going to have one great conversation, because you'll have done like 25. You'll have one good conversation and you'll go, okay, it works. I'm hooked, right? I went to the gym. I got back in the gym. I did like, some light weights. I feel good. The next week you're like, okay, 4 weeks into the gym again, you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm like back in the groove, etc. So I don't think you need to start with 100 calls. I don't think that you need to start with 20. I think you should start with 5 until you have one really good conversation, and it builds up that momentum. We're like, this is totally worth it. That person was happy that I called. They knew who I was. And like, now you're kind of back in the mix.
Debbie,
Yes,
I'd like to ask Emma a question.
sure.
Emma,
Yes.
can you apply any of these concepts to social media? Like if you see a buyer or seller that's in Facebook or LinkedIn or something, can you apply some of these same concepts to that to try to set up an appointment too?
Yeah, of course. So one of the things that we often will do is, depending on the performance of our email, right? So like, let's say I send an email out and it has a really good open rate or a really good response rate. I'll take that content and I'll make that into a social media post, because it's already been validated by my database. So I can take that, it's already a proven strategy. Or the other way, like let's say I do something on social media and it does really well. I'm like, oh, that actually performed better than I expected. Well, now I'm going to hit up my database with that, and then I'll call them after when I see that they've opened that email to say like, hey, what'd you think about my social media post? Or what'd you think about my email? Can you give me any feedback on it? Like, I'm just trying to get better. I'm new at social media and I want some feedback on how to get better. Did you like it or not? People will be pretty honest with you. And now you're in a conversation with them, and it doesn't come across as salesy. It comes across as them helping you with something. And like, honestly, most people are cool. I think that we think that most people are not cool. Most people are cool and they are okay to help you. We're just scared of having conversations with them. And it's like, if you can add value, let's say you make 100 calls and 5 people tell you, thank you, Gary, thank you so much for calling me today. I'm so happy that you called me. This was really helpful. You made me think about some things that like I hadn't thought about before, and I'm going to talk to my family about this. And 5 people say that. And 1 person tells you where to go. You have delivered value to 5 people and only 1 person was upset with it. 5-to-1 ratio, I'm doing that every single day. I'm okay with 1 person getting mad at me if I'm delivering 5 times as much value to people and they're telling me that they're enjoying my calls. I'm not going to be deterred by the 1. You're always going to get the 1. It's just like Ryan said at the beginning, it's a formula, it's a numbers game, and you just have to accept it. If you want to be a great salesperson, there's some rejection that comes along with it, but most of the time, people are cool. Like, people are pretty cool.
Excellent. All right. What's the second question for the second breakout room?
Give me 1 second. My screen.
And I'm going to just say, Sheila, thank you for being honest and telling us that you got called out in the breakout room, and that was amazing. I love it.
I can't wait till next session so that when Sheila comes on, we can find out how her calls went last week. And Sheila, you know I'm going to ask you, right?
I know. It's okay. I'll do my best.
Okay. No, you're going to do it. You're going to do it.
There you go. So the next one, we're actually going to go past that one, Rebecca. So do you guys currently have like an alternative framework for closing, or how are you asking for appointments right now? That's kind of the first thing. And the second one would be, if not, what skills do you feel like you need to improve to be able to ask for more appointments?
Excellent. All right, you guys, here we go in the breakout room. These are going to be shorter because we're shorter on time now. So here we go.